Garnet and Old, no inside info, no wins, big problems.
Big problems.
Vince, my friend, I just got home. I know you went home last night. You actually, and for those of you who know Vince or don't know him, he generally stays to the bitter end. And I called you with like 4 minutes left in the game, and you're like, "I'm in the car, brother." So,
yeah.
How are you feeling, Vince?
Well, we usually stay to the end because we like going over and hanging out with the Chiefs and singing the hymn and doing all the things you're supposed to do as part of the game day experience. And we missed my wife missed a lot of work because of the Ireland trip, and we didn't. She couldn't take the day off today. I'm actually working today as well, but a quick little lunch thing here. But we decided, why come home at 4 a.m. when we can get home at 1:30?
Yeah, at that point, you didn't miss much, Vince. Real quick, for those of you watching live or will watch live, still like and subscribe because we'll have a lot to say, win, loss, or
Sure.
otherwise. So this is a time to join, and we want to hear your opinion. So hop in the chat if you're at work or you're listening to this. We want to hear your opinion. So hop in the chat. Let us know your honest and brutal opinions following what can only be described as an absolute abomination of a performance, both for the team and the stadium.
And the stadium. We're going to get into that too. Yeah, we got to get into that too.
Vince, I'd like to start. I'm going to start here.
Yeah, it's fine.
One thing, and listen, I get it. One thing I want to bring up though is, guys, stop blaming the media and like the Tallahassee media, the shows. Okay, so all we do here and all the shows that you listen to is report what we hear out of practice, see from practice, and most of the takes you get from there is what the coaches are kind of presenting to you. And if there was any concern at the beginning of this season for Mike Norvell or the coaching staff about a potential massive drop off, it didn't come off that way, and I don't think they anticipated it. In fact, I think if you listen to Mike Norvell's press conference last night, which I did, which was a tough listen, by the way, and some of the questions were dumb.
But really, what are they going to ask?
Yeah, no, I understand. But if you listen to his press conference, he's just as bewildered, confused, upset as us, and there's nothing he can say right now other than like he all but said we suck. And so my take on this, Vince, is the only thing you can do now is respond in some form or fashion. Although I think, and we'll get into the specifics, I think this is more than just a tweak here and there. I think there's some more wholesale changes that need to be made. But hey, man, I was wrong about this team predicting. You were wrong. We were all wrong. No one thought that an 0-2 start was even possible. I mean, we all thought the Georgia Tech game at the beginning of the season, we were like, we could lose that game. We didn't think we would, but we said, it's a weird game and everything. But 0-2, I don't think there's a single fan out there or show or anyone that predicted that. So right off the hot take, Vince, what is your knee-jerk reaction?
I mean, the only people, even rivals, even trolling rivals would have never predicted 0-2. That shows you how completely discombobulated and uninspired and non-cohesive this team is. And maybe not even just the team, maybe the program. And so I've seen a lot of stuff online about, what happened last December. Did it fracture not just the team, but did it fracture like the program? And I don't know. I mean, that's kind of a deep philosophical discussion. But when you're watching the team, there is nothing short of the kicking game that you can look at and say, yeah, there's something to work with there. There's nothing. And I it's not because they don't have some talent on the roster. The, that's if people are saying, we just don't have any talent. That's just not true. There is talent on the roster. What we are lacking is want to and heart and buy-in.
Yeah.
So, you know, at that point when you're watching it, you're just waiting for another thing to go wrong. It,
Mhm.
it reminds me of watching the Willie Taggart stuff.
Yeah. Uh,
Whether it's people not being in the right place, being a steps like a step too slow, being tentative, not knowing kind of where they need to go, or some ridiculous penalty at the worst possible time
sure.
that you can have it. So there is nothing redeeming currently about what's going on with this team. And the fact that the coaching staff didn't see this coming is maybe the most troubling thing of all.
And Vince, here's what I compare it to. What this team feels like to me is, let's say you had, we work in IT, right? And we do. If you are like, let's start a company and we're going to take the best super talented employees from 20 other companies, and day one, we're going to all meet for the first time, and the company's going to run smoothly. Would that happen even if everyone's talented and good technicians or employees or managers? No. But that's what it feels like. It feels like almost like all of these players have never played together, that they've never had any kind of connection to each other, because no one's fighting for each other. No one's pushing for each other. There's no vocal leader. There's no one out there saying, well, put it on me. It feels like we took a bunch of really talented players from across the country and had an invitational and had them all show up and say, let's try to play a football game. And that's what it would look like. Now, what I do think is happening here, though, Vince, and put the defense aside, we're gonna get to the defense. On offense, I will say any team in the whole country will look like there's no meshing, there's no organic growth or plays that look easy if the main piece, the quarterback, isn't right for the team. And that could be for a myriad of different reasons. It could be right player, wrong system. It could be the type of offense we're running, it's just not fit for them. Whatever it is, the DJ experiment is an abject failure right now.
For sure.
He was short arming throws the whole night. There was no flow. It was forcing a whole lot of throws. If I see one more outside route, like hitting the ends at the sideline, missed and overthrown by more than a yard, I was about to lose my mind. So I think if you were to pick and single out one thing that you could do, if you're Mike Norvell sitting here today, that potentially, not will, but potentially could make something look much better, potentially, is why not just now? The only reason you brought in DJ is because you believe that you could compete this year, right now, for playoff.
The only reason you brought him in was for that and to have a bridge year to get to the
Yes.
guys that you have.
Well, the
But
bridge burned down.
no, there is no bridge anymore.
Yeah. So what you have to do, just to sum up my opinion here, and the first thing, if I'm Mike Norvell today, is I immediately say, guys, to the quarterback room, it's an open competition. Whoever plays best in practice and has the most flow, and meshes best with what we're trying to do here, is going to start. And I think that honestly ends up being Brock Glenn. You heard the chants, Vince. I don't know if it came through on the broadcast. It wasn't a few people in the stadium
No,
chanting, "We want
it
Brock."
was not.
It started with the students, but then by the third quarter, it was the entire stadium chanting that. And here's what I think that speaks to, Vince. If you get a guy in the transfer portal and it works out, that's fantastic. That's awesome. That's great. Jared Verse is of the world, right? Plenty of others examples, but I'm using him. But usually, if it's going to work out, it's apparent very quickly. Like, man, what a great transfer, impact player right away. Because that's why you bring in transfers, is to have an immediate impact on your team or to fill maybe a depth concern. But a lot of times, the way Mike Norvell has built his teams is we need a elite player to make a difference right now. Here's the player, and when, to his credit, when that person has come in, immediate impact, and we all see it. And so we're not gonna say, oh man, it's not a Florida State player, homegrown, because we're like, man, that's great, Jared Verse, man, come in, kick ass. That's awesome. But when it doesn't work, the groans are even quicker, and they're quicker for DJ even more so because everyone's seen his ups and downs at other schools, mainly at Clemson. Most of our fan base has probably watched most of his ups and downs at Clemson. And you've seen how bad he looked, and your hope was, hey, man, we haven't seen him in a few years. Mike Norvell's system. Let's see how he does. Well, clearly it's not working. Nothing, Vince, what he's done in the last 2 games is no better than what Brock Glenn did against Georgia. So at this point, that's why you get those chances, because not only is the team performing bad and they've seen DJ, but now if that transfer isn't an immediate impact, you want your homegrown player. Like, if we're going to roll with someone, let's roll with the guy that's been here. And so I think the first thing I would do as Mike Norvell today is make the quarterback change.
Yeah, he should have done it during the game, though.
Should I? Yeah.
Just because now, yes, it's tough to watch him play. It's really tough to watch him play because he's aiming the ball and there's no confidence there at all, or his demeanor doesn't belie the confidence, right? So it's tough. It's, first of all, tough to watch him play. He doesn't throw a ball that is easily catchable, it seems like. But even so, if you're a wide receiver on our team, and Lord knows, we're struggling there too. If the ball is anywhere near you, you better catch it, because if you're expecting DJ to put it on you, that's just not him. It's just not him. And when you're saying the ups and downs of him, we've not seen, at least Clemson got a few ups.
Yeah, we haven't seen it yet.
At least Oregon State got a few ups. We've only seen down. And you could say, well, what about the 4th down plays from last week? I mean, blind squirrel, right? That's just going to happen just in the statistics of the game. But during the game, I get a text from my daughter, who's going to Georgia Southern, and says, they got to pull him. It's terrible. I said, well, if he hasn't pulled him yet, I imagine that it'll be, if he hasn't pulled him by halftime, you'll probably see him come out for the first series of the second half. And if nothing happens there, there's no way he can continue. He's got to pull him. Even Charlie Ward got sat down. Even Charlie Ward got benched. So I don't know what's going on there, because Mike Norvell has always professed that this is the team for playmakers, and the best people are going to play. If that really is the best, then we have a lot more issue than just the fact that, we're 0-2.
Yeah.
You've got to try something different, because what's going on right now is not working. And DJ, regardless of whatever kind of innate skills and measurables and all that other kind of stuff, the kid can't play. Like, he
Yeah.
cannot play the game.
He's processing it way too slow. And this is emphasized by Chris Johnson, who's a member of Garden Old, just like you can be by hitting the join button. Even in tough times, you can be a member. So thank you, Chris, for being a member. You can't win a football game if your QB overthrows, underthrows, and a tight end drops half the passes. So here's the thing. I thought the hook for DJ, if I'm Mike Norvell live in game, should have come after a wide open touchdown in the end zone. I mean, you couldn't get more wide open. And the only reason, Vince, he missed him is because he decided, I'm going to throw it as hard as I can to this guy wide open. And I always hate this when I see this in any college quarterback, not just our quarterbacks, is you don't always have to throw it 100 miles an hour. If the guy's wide open, just you could toss him the ball, like playing catch with your pops out in the field, and he would have caught that ball.
Yeah.
Now, do I believe that the tight ends absolutely dropped some passes? But listen, there was more that I saw with my own two eyes watching it live from the Champions Club, which was lovely. By the way, there was many more times in which I felt like the lack of conviction from DJ led to a lack of conviction. I mean, it's like a cancer. And it's only made worse. I know there's some other circumstances involved in this, but it's only made worse when we see Cam Ward. And even if he makes a mistake, he's making a mistake with absolute. I mean, that guy came out from the first play. He came out pushing. So, Vince, I know it didn't go this way. And we know the circumstances, how we wanted him. He said he was going to go to the NFL. We went with DJ, and then he said, no, I'm staying.
Yeah, so people lay off about that idea.
Sure.
He was never coming here.
Sure.
Once he decided to go pro, that was it for us.
Yeah. So, however, but as a comparison point of two transfer quarterbacks, the belief that guy had himself and his abilities in the Miami game was readily apparent for everyone to see. My man's out there walking with a swagger. And DJ, every single play looks like he's out there confused, delayed, and kind of just it feels like he came here and put all the pressure, like, this is my chance to now prove what I did at Clemson wasn't me. I went to Oklahoma State. I played pretty well, right? And now this is my chance to reestablish myself as a dominant, what would have been a 5-star quarterback. And it's not there, and it's not going to happen. So I think it's time for a change. I think
it is
the same thing. And I want to say this, Breeze Frey, also a member, Fry. My crew was discussing how silent DJ is all the time. Now, here's the thing about this. You don't have to be a vocal leader. EJ Manuel was not a vocal leader. He was actually very similar in the way he carried himself on the field to DJ. However, DJ played better. I can be a leader in how you perform, but you can't have poor body language. And he had poor body language.
But also, it's not necessarily about the volume of your voice. It's about the decisiveness of your interactions with the people you are working with. So there is a lack of confidence there, or at least they perceive a lack of confidence there. And Lord knows there's no reason to be confident. He has no reason to be confident at this point. Good kid, good family, all these things, and it's all true. But there's no reason to keep the experiment going. There's just none.
Yeah.
So if we come out of this bye week and he's still the starter, if you think the fan base is having a problem right now, that's going to be tough to stomach. Mike Norvell has basically removed quite a bit of goodwill.
Let's go into the Mike Norvell part of the story. So,
yeah.
Vince, I do give him credit for one thing. People said, "Hey, you ran the ball way too much. Let's DJ in that one drive in Ireland put it together." I said that on our show. We all saw it. We said, well, let's see if that can be our strength. Let's lean on that. And he threw the ball a lot. In fact, a little too much to my liking, went too much the other way, but he gave him the opportunities. But here's what I found odd. If you're Mike Norvell, most of the game, and I'm no football aficionado as far as like I'm not a coach, but here's what I saw from a fan's perspective. Most of the game, Boston College played one high safety and a lot of press coverage.
There's a reason.
And most of the game, I don't know if you noticed this, Vince, we came out in trips receivers, all bunched on one side, over and 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 over. But what's weird is, what is DJ's strength, Vince, from the tape you've seen? What is his best play?
Well, they tell you all the time that he can push the ball.
What pass play or what play did we end up calling more than half the time with DJ?
Well, you're getting
game?
these little flat out routes and things like that.
So
So
we took his to finish real quick. I'm gonna finish the point.
yeah,
Here. We have a quarterback where his strength is pushing the ball deep. I mean, I'm talking go routes, deep post routes. That's his strength. And the only time he actually had good passes in this game were the 3 or 4 handful of times where we pushed the ball because we had to, because it was late in the game. So what you did was you took a quarterback where his best day and his best ability is deep ball. And you said, let's do a bunch of dink and dunks. Let's make him Graham Mertz in this game. It didn't work.
plays that require accuracy and touch.
Yep. And not only that, but let's do dink and dunk and little quick outs when they're playing press coverage with one high safety.
And there's no evidence that this team can put together a sustained consecutive drive. You have to win on shock plays. This team has to win on shock plays.
When I'm playing the video game, Vince, and I come out and whatever play I had called, even if I had a run play called out of shotgun, Vince, and I see, oh man, they have man coverage, press coverage, and one high safety or no safety. You know what I do? I usually hot route or audible at the line into a go route or a deep post, and I kill that. That's football 101. So from a Mike Norvell criticism standpoint, man, 2 fingers to me, to you, Robert De Niro style, right? Because you're out here, and I'm a fan of football, been watching it all my life, but I'm not a coach. And I'm seeing press coverage one high deep, and we're throwing a bunch of short routes and not pressing the ball down the field. And all we've heard is how fast this team is. So fast, the fastest wide receiver. If that's the case, a whole lot of goes and deep posts with DJ pushing the ball down the field seems like it would be an ideal call. Because the only way you're going to dink and dunk your way out of this is if you have established a running game, which you can't apparently.
Yeah, you cannot establish the run game because they're stacking the box. They don't have any respect for our ability or for DJ's ability to make them pay for it, and because he's shown no ability to do it, and so the offensive line is not going to give him enough time for these long developing routes. And you can complain about the receivers, I guess, but when you have a quarterback that doesn't seem to have any chemistry with anyone, maybe Kentron a little bit yesterday,
For one
maybe, but he has no chemistry with any of the receivers. The receivers are not world beaters to begin with, so the chances of them winning a one-on-one are not great. So that's what I'm saying. Like there's nothing redeeming about the offense at all. We cannot run the ball because they're stacking the box. They're stacking the box because they have no respect for our ability to make them pay for it. That's why we have to do something different. And you have to start with the engine that makes it go. The quarterback change has to be made.
That has to be made. And I'll be honest with you, Mike might, he won't want to hear this, but the kind of plays and the kind of offense you had to call your first 2 years here because we didn't have the talent, you're going to have to go back with that, which if you guys remember was a whole lot of eye candy, a whole lot of movement, a whole lot of, honestly, it was a whole lot of trying to get your eyes to look one way and we're going to do
Sure.
something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's what teams, when we play, when we're at our peak, let's say when we're playing someone last year, it's what the Dukes and Wake Forest of the world have to do to us because they
Yeah.
don't have the requisite talent. You're going to have to do that because what else are you going to do?
The only couple plays that worked, the very few plays that worked were trick plays
Right.
yesterday.
And
So, I mean, it's we're kind of belaboring the point here. We've got a running back room that was supposed to be a strong point of the team. We can't run the ball.
how much did it hurt, Vince, seeing Trayshawn Ward too on every play?
I mean, I hated when he left to begin with. It stuck on me that he left. I couldn't believe that he left. I didn't want him to leave, and he was the best running back on the field.
And I'm sorry, I don't want to say Jesus. All right, for the love of God, can we not ever put if you guys were in attendance at the stadium, the Lawrence Toafili card, best running back in college football montage that they did as we have 4 rushing yards?
Let's put that up. Yeah, I mean, there's a lack of awareness as well within the stadium in general. We're going to get to that here in a moment.
Let's leave the stadium stuff for the end because we have more.
Yeah,
do we want to move over to defense? Because there's a lot more to go over in defense, I think.
Again, we've got a problem. We got a problem on that side of the ball too. And the defensive line, which was supposed to be, that's all we heard about, how good it was going to be. A bunch of Jags. They're just the guys, all of them.
I'll take issue with you on the secondary.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Because there's proven guys there that have
sure,
played elite.
Sure. Yeah. And going back to one of the first things I said is that, reminds me of some of the Taggart days and even the late Jimbo days. We finally get a tackle behind the line of scrimmage, and we're losing. They might have been in the third quarter. Patrick Payton catches the ankle of the quarterback, takes him down behind the line of scrimmage, and I have to watch a celebration. I mean, what that to me tells me that we have gone backwards. Like this team as a program, as a collective mindset, this team has gone backwards. There is Patrick Payton, a lot of talent, a lot of ability. That team did not warrant any celebrations yesterday, let alone individual celebrations. Like those are the kind of things, if you want your fan base to stand behind you and think about the teams that we've seen in the past, Ryan, that didn't have the talent and we knew we were going to be up against it every week. But you know what? You were backing them because they had heart and they had grit and they wanted to do the right thing and they loved each other and they wanted to play and you were hearing all the right things. That is not what this team is. That is not what this team is. This team currently is a bunch of individuals who are soft with no heart.
I have so many thoughts. I have way more thoughts on.
I do too.
On the defensive side, because my very first thought that I want to kind of get off my chest is guys, DJ Lundy can't be on the field.
Well, in the press conference, Ryan, he's saying that coach likes to blame this all on himself, but it's up to us as players. Yeah, I mean, you've got to do the things that you were coached to do, and you have to have buy-in and play for each other and play together as a team. But I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, DJ Lundy's a liability. How many times did
every team knows it?
How often, Vince, in this game did we see a running back wide open out of the backfield for a gain of 20? How many times? Yeah. I would say 8, 9.
Oh, for sure. I've learned so much. Like you, I'm not a football coach. I stopped playing football in 8th grade, right? But I've learned so much in the last 20 years or whatever about players having to work in concert, and everybody has a job, and run fits and things like that. And man, we've gone backwards.
But I want to start with Lundy, because
Yeah.
here's the biggest issue I have. Georgia Tech exposed that clear as day, getting him trying to cover anyone in the passing game a week ago. You have to know that Boston College they watch film of other games.
Yeah.
And you know what they said? They said, hey, we'll start out and we'll get to the line and we'll see him. And we're going to immediately throw to the running back out of the backfield, because he can't keep up with him and he's going to take a terrible angle, even if he can. And that was exposed over and over again. So why is DJ Lundy out there on passing downs? And so if this goes back to the head coach and, Adam Fuller, but it always goes back to the head coach. If he proves he can't be out there, then what you do is what other teams who don't have the size and the ability to cover, even if it costs you in the run game, even if it does, what you do is you put a few more DBs on the field and you say, okay, we can't stop the run apparently anyways. So what we can do is put a few more DBs or some more fast twitch guys, even linebackers that are more like hybrids on the field, and say, well, you're not going to beat us with this nonsense to the running back. Because right now we're not good at anything. We're not stopping the run. They were just running. I mean, the line, I watched the replays, Vince. When Boston College snapped, our players went backwards immediately. So if you cannot stop the run, you have to be able to stop something. I believe our corners and our safeties went in the right position. I think we are fine there. I honestly do believe that. The only time they got burned, there was one big misassignment that was dropped, which was funny. The only time they got burned is when he had all day in the pocket to throw, and he was just sitting back there because our line couldn't get any pressure on him. Even when they did, we couldn't get him down, so it didn't matter. But you have to be good at something. So if, again, going back to what do you do to fix? What changes do you make? You get DJ Lundy off the field on any and all passing downs. Maybe you save him for, goal line and 4th and short, that kind of situational football. But you get some more hybrid and DBs on the field, play coverage, and you hope that the team in front of you can't run the ball very well. And that's your hope right now, because what are your other options?
Well, I mean, you got to do something different, because what's happening is not working. So we'll see how stubborn Mike is, right? Because he's stubborn. And of all the accolades that were thrown his way about his ability to adapt to the players that he has, haven't seen that yet this season. I mean, not even a little bit. So if you talk about the linebacking core, so you're saying pull him off the field, but yet he's one of the better linebackers we have. That's a problem, man. That's a problem. And there have been a lot of people and a lot of, fans and a lot of FSU creators that have talked about Randy Shannon.
That was my next point.
And his, what are we getting for the money we're paying him? Because for a while there, people said, well, at least with the people, he may not be able to recruit real well, but at least he develops the guys that we bring in. Not seeing that either. So whereas, that's bad money. That's money being spent poorly. And this is what I'm saying about Mike. We'll see what type of head coach he is as this season plays on, and at the end of this season. People were in shock that the staff was intact.
We all were.
Except the only guys that have left. Dillingham left to get a better job, right? Become a head coach.
Yep.
And then Marcus Woodson got kind of pushed out, right?
Yeah, which is good.
Which is good, because there are only maybe 2, maybe 3 staff members on this team right now that are earning their money, and very few of them are earning what they're worth.
Yeah.
So Randy Shannon's got to go, man.
In fact, Vince, that was my biggest point. Is I said get DJ Lundy off the field in most downs and distances. I was going to say before your next game, I think Randy Shannon needs to be shown to the door. Do I think it will happen that way? No. Do I think it should? Absolutely. I would fire him today. Because what is he doing? If nothing else, you probably have, now that analysts can coach on the field, if anything, you have probably guys that are maybe a little bit younger, maybe have less experience, but God, how can it get worse? But in the meantime,
Ryan, you don't have to worry about, losing the linebacker recruits that are lining up to sign with us because we don't have
a hire. Go make
we
a
don't
hire.
Have them.
Yeah, but go make a hire. What are you going to lose?
Well, you got Ernie Sims.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got to shake up this staff. I just saw that exact terminology just came in the comments. You got to shake up this staff because it's just not working. The linebacking, for Florida State University, with the history and the pedigree that this university has overall, but especially at the linebacking position, it is unconscionable where we are in that room.
I agree. So we both agree Randy Shannon needs to go.
Absolutely.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
On the second hot seat now.
He won't do it, though. Not till the end of the season, which is unfortunate.
So this is going to be, I don't want to say, maybe not a hot take. Maybe
not anymore. It's not. So,
Vince, do you think that the offensive line, I'm starting to feel, what's his name?
Atkins.
Alex Atkins. He might be one of those guys that's really good at raising the floor, but not raising the ceiling. And we've seen this before in other coaches that we've had coach the offensive line. Rick Trickett comes to mind. Definitely at the time raised our floor when he first got hired under Jimbo's staff. I think he was a lot of coaches are really good at taking a mess and making, something better, more sustainable out of it. And for all we've heard about, this is the best offensive line Mike Norvell's ever had. From Mike Norvell, he said it. Well, it sure seems like we can't do anything. We can't pass protect. We can't run block. And I know Alex Atkins hasn't been on the field, but he's the guy coaching these guys and recruiting these guys. And if it's a misevaluation or if it's a not coaching it up, he's not in the category right now for me for fire yesterday like Randy Shannon is, because I thought that should have been done in the offseason. Randy Shannon should have been fired in the offseason. But Alex Atkins, you're on the hot seat, my friend. You're on the Big East hot seat right now, because you can't tell me, hey, last year we had some injuries, this, that, or the other, but we were supposed to be able, if nothing else, if all else fails, if DJ sucked, if everything sucked, wide receivers were young, we were supposed to be able to run the ball. And we have not run the ball at all.
Zero. It's been pretty bad.
And if Mike Norvell's calling the play caller, he's the real offensive coordinator. And Alex Atkins is only there to coach the offensive line, essentially. He's got to be looked at the end of the year.
He is, and he should be. And there are a lot of people that, you're starting to hear those things now, right? There were a couple people earlier on that were talking about him, and it wasn't necessarily justified yet at the time. But you got to remember, everybody fell in love with him because of raising the floor, like you said. But you got to remember how low that floor was.
Yeah.
So if you come in and just throw bodies at the problem, you can't almost help but get better, and maybe noticeably better.
Mm-hmm.
But where's that next step? Where's Lucas Simmons? You know, where are these guys that were supposedly, you know, yeah, we're starting to get these big time offensive line recruits now. It's just not working. And you know, whether he's been suspended or not, he's had years with these guys,
Yep.
and they know the
system.
they know the system.
Yep.
They know what's expected of him or of them. How is it, Ryan? How is it that one of your top offensive linemen, it's been in the program for a long time, is committing false starts after false starts in a game at home when you cannot afford it? You can't afford it, man.
It's rough.
So yes, I'm in agreement with you.
Yeah.
Alex Atkins is he's not safe, and he shouldn't be safe. As a matter of fact, Patrick Surtain safe.
Yeah, he's safe. Yeah.
I would say he's safe. I would say that
I would say wide receivers because of the
Dugan's probably.
You can't judge.
Yeah, Dugan's
with bad quarterback play. You
safe.
Can't judge it.
I mean, and okay, so here we go. This might also be a tough one. I love Odell, and Odell been around forever. He's more of a Nole than I will ever be.
And for everyone out there, Vince has never even breached this topic before.
Ever. What are we doing? Like, what's going on? Where are the recruits? Where's the depth? Where's the quality? Florida State quality, depth, and development. Where is it? Because if we had it, then I wouldn't have to watch people hold us hostage for NIL money and then get what we're getting. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a tough one for me. But it ain't working there either, man.
Yeah. And the coaching as a whole, when you're a program like Florida State and where Florida State aspires to always be, which is in the top 10 in the country, making the playoffs on the regular, right? That's the goal every year. The path to national championships is the goal and the standard here because we've done it. I mean, we went undefeated last year, for God's sakes. But the coaches, if you look at Atkins, Randy Shannon, and again, you hate to say it, but, you know, I agree with you on Odell. Florida State can afford better coordinators and could probably go out and get some of the very best in the sport to coach under Mike Norvell. And all we heard about Norvell is he knows a lot of good, young, smart coaches. Like, he's very well connected in the coaching industry. And he did raise the floor clearly here. I mean, we went from nothing to went undefeated last year. So kudos to Norvell on that. But if you want to sustain and not end up back in the doldrums, which we are teetering on disaster. It is a disaster, but I'm talking we're teetering on program disaster. If it continues like it is right now, you go out there and you screw around and you lose the next 2 or 3 games in a row. You're not talking just assistant coach hot seats. You might start simmering, slightly turning on the simmer on the stove on Norvell.
It wouldn't be legitimate, by the way.
No,
that wouldn't be legitimate. He's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere, but you would have
But you would hear about it.
Yes. Because you would say, how is this possible? Right? And that's what the legitimate question is here. So you have to get better coaches. You have the salaries. We can get better coaches. We're paying them what we could pay better coaches.
There's no doubt. And it's not like, Ryan, it's not like any assistant coaches that are out there would look at it and think that, Mike is too quick on the trigger finger to get rid of coaches. He's the opposite of that.
Yeah.
So so there would be no blowback for that.
Yeah.
Like it is time. It is time to shuffle the deck here and get some dogs on the staff.
Yeah.
From the recruiting side.
Yeah.
And I know the unicorn is the ace recruiter and the ace developer. That's the unicorn, right? You can't always have that. I get that, but man, it's time to refill the coffers.
Yeah.
And the coffers are getting close to being bare, especially if this season continues down the spiral that it's in.
Yeah. And here's the thing, Vince, is that it makes sense when you get here as a new coach from Memphis that you bring the guys that you trust and you've been with to get this thing turned around. And he did. But now he's at a pivot point. And I'm going to use two examples. Now, one example has since not learned from this mistake he already learned from. So, but here are the two examples of how this could go. Does he take the Jimbo Fisher route, see 2015 through 2017, where he says, nah, our assistant coaches are great. In fact, I want to keep them and pay them more. When everyone in the world, fans, media, can see like, oh, they're not being coached and developed and recruited well. There's that option where he digs in his heels and says, these are my guys. And that is a real concern that he could do that.
Oh, there absolutely is a real concern.
Because this comes down to the man, the person. When these kind of decisions are made, it comes down to, yes, can the man separate the job from his heart or
and
can
his
he
ego
make a judgment?
and his ego?
Yes. The other way this could go, see Dabo after losing a ton of games in the early 2010s and almost getting fired, and then hiring some of the best assistant coaches that were ever hired in that era who clearly carried him to prominence. I mean, we're talking, was there any, maybe Alabama, was there any defense that was as good as Clemson's for a good, 5 to 7 year stretch?
That was a recruiting and development machine.
Yeah. And kudos to him. Now he has since lost those guys, and now he's digging his heels in on other things like NIL and portal and all that fun stuff. But those are the options here. Does Michael Norvell say, you know what? No, I believe in my guys. It's not bad. We can fix this, which I think is the wrong course.
Yeah.
Or does he recognize this ain't getting it done, and I don't want to lose my job in 2 years?
Here's the thing, Ryan. If this season comes and goes and Randy Shannon is still on this staff at the end of this season, my trust in Norvell's ability to be a CEO, program guy is going to take a major, major hit. He should have already made that call.
Yeah.
But he hasn't done it yet. So this to me is like, this is the last chance on that. It can't be any more obvious at this point.
Yeah, if it came out on X today that Randy Shannon has been fired, none of us would be like, what?
No, most of the actually most of the fan base would be like, thank God. So if that, at the very minimum, that change has to be made. It has to be made.
All right, let's pivot to the stadium. I'm gonna name 3 things, Vince, that were absolute fails in rapid fire. Then I'm gonna let you expound because I know you're in agreement with me.
I'm in more than agreement.
1, the video boards, pixels missing, clocks not working, all kinds of IT issues, glitches, weirdness. That's 1. 2, please, for the love of God, stop playing at 100,000 decibels, the worst selection of music at the worst times that make no sense. And 3, let the band play. You guys didn't even play fanfare at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
They did. I know you
got
didn't
cut
hear
off,
it.
though.
Excuse me. Yeah. So
the music, they cut them off early in the middle of it with loud music.
A lot of my posts on X don't get a lot of traction, and I'm okay with that. my ego is not hurt at all. But I currently have a post on X right now that is getting a lot of traction, and it is centered around this. My ears do not need constant
Base.
interaction for the entirety of a football game. And it has nothing to do with me being old, Ryan.
Yeah.
We have, and I say we, I'm just talking about Doak Campbell, Florida State University. We have neutered and bastardized the collegiate game day atmosphere at Doak Campbell Stadium. I don't even recognize it. Forget about like the LED lights and all that. Okay, whatever. At least that's visually, you can ignore that.
I actually like those.
But, you know, there are some people that are not aware. And if you're not aware of this, you're about to find out. The marching chiefs were basically informed that they needed to stand down in terms of how much they get to play. You will never hear the war chant on third down on defense. You won't hear it. Think about that for a second.
Because instead they want to play stand up and shout.
In Doak Campbell Stadium, there's a crucial third down. You will not hear the war chant because that is strictly only for the DJ. What are we doing? The video board. I mean, as soon as I walked in, I think I texted you and said something to the effect of, "Oh, looks like the whole off season wasn't enough time to figure out what's going on with the video boards and the audio in general as well. The clocks, forget about it." Mike Norvell said at one point, and this is not his quote, many people have said this quote, but how you do anything is how you do everything. We as a fandom, the enjoyment of going to the game has been neutered. This is not supposed to be the NBA. I don't need that. The students don't need that. The students, you saw the halftime show.
I did, yeah.
Right? Very engaging. The students were engaged. A college game, you should hear the college band.
Mm-hmm. That's why they're there.
It's been neutered. And if you guys, and you can, I get some people are like, why do we care about the band and all that? The team sucks and whatever. Okay, I get it. But it's the whole thing. The whole thing is the program, all of it. So if you care, you should let people know. You should let people know that you do not desire your ears to be assaulted for 4 hours straight. It's unnecessary. And it's insulting and it's embarrassing. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Jules said we couldn't even get down. They cut off eastbound and down
Because of a glitch.
Not only that, but one of my favorite moments of the whole night, when it comes to terrible DJ, is there was a moment in the fourth quarter before they came back from break where they had this massive crescendo, do 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 do, in his building, and it went do 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 do, and where the beat would drop, nothing.
Yeah,
and I went, it's like, I don't even like this music, and I know that after a crescendo, the beat should drop. Instead, it just went silent, like something wrong happened. And by the way, those pixels on the video board, Vince, those same ones were broken last year.
No, and they've been broken for a while.
Yeah.
So take some of Randy Shannon's money and go fix the flipping video board.
Yeah, the clock not working is an embarrassment.
That's an embarrassment. We were the only game on last night. The only game, again, by the way, to be embarrassed. And the clock's not working. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, when you know as a program hey, ESPN's coming in town. The Goodyear blimp is overhead. You already know that we can't do anything about this part in our dust, like over here, you know, where the construction is. We know that that's not going to look great on TV. So if I am in charge of facilities, Vince, I'm saying, knowing that that looks like crap over there because it's construction, there's nothing, none of me, you are complaining about that. Everything else has to be perfect. The field should look great. The band should be playing. The video board should be pristine. We need to make up for how it looks over here with everything else being a peak
Absolutely.
performance. And it looked like I was attending like a high school football game where they don't have the money to even fix their own video boards. And it wasn't like the clock didn't work for like a drive. It didn't work the entire first quarter.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
And
So
the quarter in which we had 4 yards of offense, by the way.
rivals, troll all you want. They deserve it.
Yeah.
We deserve it. We're going to wear this, man, because it's not just the team. There is a lack of owning the standard across the board right now, and it's frustrating. And someone said here earlier in the chat he feels sorry for us because we have to talk about this. Ryan and I were going to talk about it anyway.
Yeah,
we're just going to talk about it in front of the camera. So
yeah, we got to do a show.
So if you have the heart to do it, go on X, find my post about it, and repost that and retweet it and at some people that are important, because if I am going to go to Doak Campbell Stadium, and Ryan, you and I are going to go to a lot of games this fall. If I'm going to go and watch the absolute crap show of a team that we have right now, then I at least want to enjoy the game day experience to some degree. I want to hear the Marching Chiefs play a lot and often and when it matters. I want to hear that. I'm paying good money to hear that. Not just as a fan, but as a dad, right? I'm paying a lot of money to hear that. I'm supporting that group. I want the video board to work. I don't know a lot about video boards, Ryan, but I can tell you that probably, you put me in front of that, you put you in front of that video board, and as long as we have the materials, you and I would have that thing fixed in 24 hours.
Because what those are a bunch of smaller
Panels.
That
They're
make
small
up bigger
panels.
ones. So clearly you had broken panels, but then you had panels not being synced. And so my hope as an IT professional,
Ryan, you had two panels that were showing the same thing.
yes. So my hope, and Vince, you have run staff meetings as the IT guy. I know IT very well. My hope is that a week, 3 days, 4 days before the game, that you had a detailed dry run of the AV, because that's what you and I would do in a small, tiny production for an office. And if you didn't do that, shame on you.
Well, yeah, and then you get what you deserve.
Yeah.
Right? You get what you deserve. You get 60,000 people watching your group crap the bed on national television. And I'm not talking about the team.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about the team.
It was the worst in-person game day I've ever been to.
It is the worst in-person game day I've ever been involved in at Doak Campbell. You hit it right on the head,
And
Ryan.
it was hot and humid. It was the worst. It got hotter as the night went on, by the way. It was like
by the way, the tailgate was great.
Yeah. That was the best part of the day, right?
And I hope if you happen to catch, I live streamed on the show here the Skull Session, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I think it's important, and I'm going to do it every game that I can.
So let's wrap it up there. We're going to have more on our 7 o'clock.
I'm fired up now, Ryan.
This Thursday, we're going to talk about it even more because we have a bye week to sulk. So on Thursday, we're going to have a lot more to say, and maybe, who knows? Rain and Shannon news can't come soon enough. But we were all wrong. The team sucks. The atmosphere sucks, and we have to do something about it. We got to make some changes. And Vince and I, man, we're going to do everything we can to post and poke and prod no contacts, no problem. But in this case, let's blow these people up. And we have over 100 live streamers right now. Please, every one of you, if you could,
Go
sulk with us.
subscribe.
Please hit the like button while you're watching this, because it just helps other people find the show.
Ryan and I never told you that we were the football experts and this was going to be the end all beat all team. Just remember that. So your ire shouldn't be pointed at Ryan. We thought the team would be better. We're no different than any other fans. And there was no indication that you were going to see the bottom drop out that you see right now. It's ridiculous and it's really unacceptable. And Mike Norvell has to figure it out. Otherwise, you're looking at maybe 4 wins tops this season.
Yeah, it's in the cards. It's in the cards. But Vince, we'll talk about it more. We'll soak for a few days. We'll bring some fresh thoughts for Thursday. Remember that this Thursday, if you are a YouTube member, and you can do that by hitting the join button and picking your level, we're going to do at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. That's 30 minutes before our normal 7 o'clock show. We're going to do a members only live, taking kind of interaction with the audience, talking about all of this. And then immediately following that, we'll do everyone can watch live stream our normal Garden Old show on Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern time. So stay tuned. Hang in there, everyone. Pivot to something else. The NFL starts this week, so maybe you pivot to that. Put your hopes and dreams in one of your teams. Vince, any last words that you want to say?
Yeah. Send the Chiefs all the damn time and let them play.
Yeah, we got to add that now. Let them play.
Just let them play.
And fire the DJ. Both of them. No,
it's terrible.
But everyone have as best a good week as you can after that shellacking, and we will see you Thursday on the Garden Old Show. Be well, everyone.
Go Noles.
Go Noles.